Hey, we're back on the show, all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. And this is the time of year, I keep saying this over and over again, you'll hear it again many more times on the program this week, it's the season for New Year's resolutions. Everybody's trying to get set up for success, and that's what my next guest is all about. That's Derek Mazzarella. He's a speaker, author, financial advisor, and he has been committed to helping individuals pursue financial freedom. He has a strong background in management from Bryant University and a passion for assisting others, which led him to become a certified financial planner. Derek, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. You have quite the impressive background. I know you've sort of ridden the storm over here through the financial crisis. You've been talking with folks. Anybody's willing to listen again about getting set up for success. So, Derek, let's start with that topic. Why did you get into the world of certified financial planning?
I kind of just fell into it, really. I kind of going back had kind of an interest, even from a younger age, dating back to high school and even college, about finance. But my first job out of college was actually with Aflac. But I was, selling a lot of supplemental insurance. It wasn't a great fit for me. And then about a year and a half into it, 2008 happened. When you sell Aflac, it's a lot of businesses you're working with, and they laid off a ton of employees. So I lost probably about a third of my book of business. But I've been networking with a financial advisor over that year and a half. And at one point he said, well, why don't you just come work with me? And I thought, that sounds like something that I'd be interested in. I really enjoy learning about finance. And I thought, I got an opportunity to help people here. And worst case scenario, if I absolutely fail at it, hopefully I'll learn some things that I can actually apply to my own life. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Well, you certainly have not failed, because I know you've helped so many folks. And, I want to dive right in. We know many people are not fully prepared for retirement. Let's call it what it is. I mean, certainly people are looking at the end of the year. They're looking at their retirement accounts. What are some of the practical one or two items that they can do to help their situation?
Well, honestly, the first thing you really can do is save. Most people really underestimate how much things cost in retirement. Things like healthcare, even just the basic expenses, they add up over time, and they overestimate how much income what they have saved will generate for them in retirement. So I think the number one thing you could do is start saving. I hate rules of thumb, but generally you want to look to save probably 15 to 20% of your income. That's gross income. And that'll really set you up nicely for retirement.
Absolutely. So what are some of those simple tips beyond just retirement savings, but just in general that you've seen or that you've advised your clients, but especially our audience today, that they can implement even at the end of the year that can have that big impact on their finances? Saving, certainly very important. You got to put that money away.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's always the basics, right? But going beyond that, I think one of the things I've learned working through clients and also doing research for the book is that people really underestimate the impact and the cost of taxes in retirement. So some short things we can do this year are, when you have a volatile market like we've had last year and this year, there's potentially some opportunities to do what's called tax loss harvesting. And that's essentially where, if let's say you owned a stock, let's say it was, Apple or Amazon, name it, and you lost $5,000 or $10,000 of value, you could actually sell that stock, realize that loss. So now you're actually capturing that $5,000 or $10,000 loss, and you could use that to offset future income. So you could actually offset up to $3,000 a year of income if you're filing married, your tax returns, or $1,500 if you're filing singly. So that's one opportunity. The other thing you could do in down markets is, I'm a big fan of looking at Roth conversions. So Roth conversions occur when you have money in, let's say, a traditional IRA, so an IRA that's never been taxed, and then you take it and convert it to a Roth IRA, which means you pay the taxes today, but all future gains moving forward will be tax-free. So those are a couple of things I've been talking with clients. End of the year, always a good time to look at, if you are itemizing, looking at charitable contributions and making deductions that way. So those are some of the smaller things I would look at that could make an impact if you do it over and over again.
Absolutely. And so, there's a lot of our listeners that might be further away from retirement, and, they're rolling their eyes because they're hearing, oh my gosh, they're talking about, I'm getting down to business. They're talking about retirement again. It's not something that's even partially on my radar. what would you say to them? What's something that they can do now to set something up for later?
Yeah, well, I think that's a great point because when things are that far off, we just automatically assume it's not important or I'll get to it later. One thing I'd really love to stress to the younger folks listening is that retirement just gets more expensive the longer you wait, right? So it may take you, saving $200 a month now to set yourself up for retirement. And if you wait to 50, you're probably going to cost yourself $2,500 to $3,000 a month to do the same, to get to the same spot. So I'd really, really look at, okay, what can I start putting away now? And there's also things I would bring up too, where not everything has to go into a 401k or an IRA. You can invest in an investment account now, and you can actually push that money forward. So you may be able to use it for something shorter term, like buying a house or buying an investment property, if you're into that. Or you can just kind of keep pushing that money forward towards retirement. So setting up money that's not just in an IRA or just in a retirement vehicle can really help you, short-term and long-term to give you that flexibility.
Yeah, 100%. I'm chatting with Derek Mazzarella, who is a dedicated financial advisor. And I know, Derek, you have written a book. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. And many of your financial insights have been featured on news stations around the country. And it's earned you a prestigious 5-star wealth professional in 2018, 19, 21, and 22. So congratulations on that. Your book is called Just Retire Already, an unconventional retirement. I mean, it's really, you pack a lot of the guidance that we've been talking about. What drove you to write that book, and what's some of the things that you write about that maybe not, that's not in other of the many books about retirement?
Sure. Well, I think two things really kind of drove me to write the book. First, one of the challenges we have as advisors is we're really limited in our time and typically who we can work with. So I can't work with 20,000 people. I can realistically work with maybe 150 to 200 and do a really good job with those 200 or so folks. So I wanted to part what I learned over the years to more people, make the learning that I've had more accessible. The other piece of it is I just found that a lot of financial books can be kind of boring if you're really not into it. I mean, I love them. I find them interesting, but I know the average person probably looks at a book and rolls their eyes and says, oh, that just seems too daunting to me. So I really wanted to make a book that was actually had good content that you can learn and take something away from it. And also maybe laugh along the way and just made it simple and easy to understand. So that was really the impetus for writing the book. I think in terms of looking at what's something that you can get out of there, that's probably something you haven't heard of. One of the things I really try and do in the book is talk about what we're usually taught growing up and how a lot of those issues can arise and create other problems down the line. We talked about taxes recently, but I'll give you the tax example. I think we're always taught, put money into pre-tax 401k, save on taxes today. Almost every CPA has backward-looking tax planning where they try and maximize or minimize how much you pay in taxes this year because they think they do a good job when, hey, look, I saved you $1,500 in taxes this year. Give me a pat on the back. When down the line, that can cost you $4,000 or $5,000 in retirement. So one of the things I really talk about is how everything is interrelated. So if we have everything in a pre-tax 401k and then we start taking money out in retirement, all that money's taxed, which isn't great. But then that has a ripple effect on some other things. So almost every retiree is going to be on Medicare. And if you have different Medicare brackets go up, most people don't realize this, but your Medicare expenses, if you go up 2 brackets, doubles the cost of Medicare. So I really make an outline and make it sure that people are aware of, hey, if I'm doing something over here, it can have a ripple effect elsewhere. And I want to make sure people are aware and how you kind of plan around that with tax strategies now and tax strategies later.
Well, that's why folks need to talk to Derek Mazzarella. Derek, you've packed a lot of advice, the positives as well as the negatives into this conversation. And you have a book. You've got a lot of advice, I know, that's floating around with your name. Derek, how can our listeners get in touch with you and if they want to continue the conversation?
Well, one of the easiest ways is you can go to my website, Just Retire Already. There you can get the book. You can get the book on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, wherever you find books. But there's also a contact section. So if you want to reach out to me ask me questions even, or shoot me an email, book a time on my calendar. You can do that on the resources page and the Make an Impact page as well. So
yeah, justretirealready.com. And I know you're also available on LinkedIn as well. We'll link in the show notes as well. We've got to squeeze in some headlines, commercials, a quick break here on the show, all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. Derek Mazzarella, certainly enjoyed the conversation. We've got a lot more in store for you on the program, so don't touch the dial. You're listening to Get Down to Business. We'll be right back.